So this is a 1964 Peel P50. It was built on the Isle of Man by a company called Peel Engineering. Now, Peel Engineering was a really small company, had about 10 employees. Their real specialty was building things out of fiberglass. Actually, their highest volume product was fiberglass fairings for motorcycles. When the bubble car era kind of got started in the 1950s, they thought, well, we can go ahead and build cars. And it's kind of interesting, this is recognized by the Guinness World Book of Records as the world's smallest car, although Peel really never had any intention of that. The whole intent of this car was that it needed to be priced just slightly more than a scooter. So on a cold, rainy day, instead of being on a scooter going somewhere and you're going to get wet and be cold, you would be inside and have some weather protection. It's powered by a 50cc scooter motor. It weighs about 230 pounds. They made about 60 Peel P50s, so they were not produced in any kind of volume. But also one of the unique things about it is because it's a scooter motor, it does not have reverse, of course. So what they did is they had put a handle on the back, and they call it the reversing handle. So you use this to pick it up if you needed to go the other way, turn it around, or if you wanted, if you needed to back up in any way, this was a reversing handle. Because this car had to be very, very cheap, like only slightly more than a scooter, when it came to using parts to build the car, they used kind of what was ever available. So like the white bumpers are really just the bumper material you use on a dock. So they probably just went down to the local marine place and bought that. The other unique thing about the car is the way it starts, because it was a 50cc scooter motor, and back in that day, no scooters had electric start. They would all be kickstart. And obviously you can't kickstart a car once you're sitting in it. So what they did is they hooked basically a long handle to the kickstart lever. So what you do is you get in the car, and on the right-hand side there's a long lever, and you just lift it up like that, and that's how you start the car. Another point about it is the pedals are unique because instead of buying some pedals or making pedals, the round part of the pedal is essentially a freeze plug out of an engine block. So they just took a flat piece of metal and then welded a freeze plug on the bottom of it, and that made the pedals. So again, everything was made super, super cheap because, again, it had to be cheap to sell, and they knew they weren't going to make them by the thousands. They probably didn't know they were only going to make 60, but it wasn't like we were thinking, okay, we're going to make 10,000 Peel P50s a year. Because it was a limited type car, and it was only going to be used to go from short distances and to help protect you from the weather. So this is a 1965 Peel Trident. This was also made by Peel Engineering. Peel made the Peel P50, which was a single-seater. They decided not long after that they wanted to make a two-seater. And actually this is the smallest two-seater car ever made. Again, their intent was to build a small car that only cost slightly more than a scooter. So on a cold, rainy day, you could have some weather protection. But it's different than the P50, in fact, that basically it has this hatch that tips up. The reason they did that was it was super cheap. So you don't really have any doors, you don't have any opening windows. It was not too hard to get in and out of. It's actually where the P50 has a good bit of room. A normal person can get in and out of that pretty easily. For two people to get in this car, it has to be two smaller people, and it's really quite tight. It's shoulder to shoulder. The seat doesn't move at all, because it's a fiberglass tub. The other negative thing about certainly Nashville, Tennessee is that the bubble in the summertime, you get barbecued, because again, there's no opening windows except for this little door on the side that is like a ticket door that doesn't really let any air in. But you got to remember, the Isle of Man, it was cool, it was rainy, they didn't get a lot of warm climate. But here, in the summertime, this thing turns into an oven in a matter of 5 minutes, because you have two people sitting inside it, so you're creating heat. On top of that, the motor is right in the back, and it's creating heat. In terms of the motor, it's exactly the same motor that they used in the Peel P50. It's a DKW 50cc scooter motor. Again, so this car did not have reverse, unlike the P50, which had a reversing handle because it was light enough to pick up. This car, they didn't put a handle on the back because it would have been too heavy to pick up. So basically, if you wanted to go backwards, you had to get out of the car and push. But to get in, basically you just kind of slide in, sit down, lift the latch up, and you're in the bubble. Total production, somewhere around 60 cars. So again, very few cars. but again, a very unique car.